All right. Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to this pre-Thanksgiving here in the U.S. MSP Success webinar series, and we're thrilled to have Eric Townsend back for his fourth of a four-part series here today on digital marketing strategies, and he's going to be going through a lot of this. Couple quick announcements that we have here before I turn it over to Eric and the team, and I'm going to share my screen real quick because we get some really cool stuff that's coming up here. Eric, you're going to like this of what we have. We have coming up. We just released it out there for registrations. We've got Raiders of the Big Profits. That is our boot camp event coming up April 11th through 14th, 2023. We're going to have 1,200 MSPs there. We just released this. I think it was on Monday, maybe it was last Friday. In a mention in an email, I've already got over 300 people registered for the event, and that is climbing fast every day. So a couple things on this. So it's April 11th through 14th. You can see it at robinsbigseminar.com. If you are one of our subscription members, Toolkit membership, MSP Launch Academy, Accelerators Club, and Producers Club, you have 2 tickets included with your membership. And so when you click on the reserve your tickets here, it's going to take you to this, and you can click this red button that says if you're owed tickets with your membership, click that. It's going to take you to our dashboard site. You can RSVP, no credit card needed to be able to do that. I encourage you, and Alicia here on the call is from Nashville. She knows this. Anyone else that comes to Nashville, book your hotel early. We've got great rates for the hotel, but if you try getting in late, it's like we were actually in Vegas for a road show a couple of weeks ago. The SEMA conference was going on. I think like 200,000 or something like that people that were there. It was like $700-800 a night at the Holiday Inn to be able to get hotel rooms because it was so packed. You don't want that to be with Nashville. You never know how many bachelorettes are going to be here in Nashville booking up hotel rooms. And so there is a lot of hotel rooms in Nashville, but you're not going to get a better rate than if you're booking now and getting one of ours. We actually have it at 2 hotels, the Omni, which is our event hotel, and then the Westin was just a block away there with some great rates. And so very cool with this. We have our Better Your Best contest, and we have our 3 judges on this contest are going to be 3 from Shark Tank. First time we've ever done this. And so 5 of our top members are going to be presenting their story of success in their MSP to Robert Hershevek, Damon John, and Kevin O'Leary live in person on stage. It is going to be pretty cool to be able to see this there. The winner of it, the winner of that contest is winning a $80,000 car out of this as well. We've been doing this with giving away a car for many years. Never done this with having these guys. A number of these, Robert, we were actually just out at Robert's office last week in Kansas City, his headquarters, spending the day with him. Super cool guy. All of these guys are really cool to be able to work with. And when you get all 3 of them together, then it just creates some magic. It's going to be fun to be able to see this of them working with MSPs. They all understand the MSP market. They all have MSPs themselves. And so you definitely want to get registered for this. If you already are owed tickets, go there and get them registered now. Otherwise, you can get it. It is the best pricing on the tickets here. VIP is $997. You can add additional for only $100 each. Or Platinum First Class is $3,000. You get all the best parties and seating and everything else there, and you can add additional people for only $100 as well. So make sure that you do that. That's going to be killer. Also, just something really cool, little kind of throw on the side of here. If you like MSP Success and you want some MSP Success magazine swag, we've actually got a deal that's going on here. If you go to mspsuccessmagazine.com/billing demo, is that we're giving away a free MSP Success Yeti, not a Fetty, not a fake Yeti, but it's a Yeti. They're from, I think they're from Austin, Texas. We're giving away a Yeti, MSP Success branded Yeti. All you have to do is set a demo with one of our partners, Connect Booster, there. And in exchange for your time of checking out a demo for their billing software, you are going to get a Yeti sent to you for free. So just something fun with that. I'll post that up in the chat if anyone is interested in checking that out. But with that, I am going to turn it over to Eric. And Eric, I'll let you share your slides. If anyone on here can tell me what's different about Eric, this call versus the others, that's like the bonus that you have on this as well. So Eric, I'll turn it over to you. Oh, we're seeing your, there you go, swap your presenter view again. All right. And I think you're still muted on there, Eric.
I was screaming so much because I've not seen those three together. those three, you can go to any, I mean, I've seen them in like person, I've seen them in different places individually, but never all three together except for on TV. Jeff, I don't know how you even, I mean, there's a lot, I don't know how you got that one, but that's pretty amazing. Like I'm
No, it's actually going to be cool too, is that they're not just doing a presentation. They are also, I mean, they're not just judging, they're going to come back and do a panel discussion and really break down of what they just saw, what's important, just being able to give some of their wisdom there. So they're going to do a double session. They're going to be judging and then also doing, coming back and talking with Robin, taking questions from the audience as well. So it's going to be really cool.
Sign up now. It's all I can say. I went this year. I mean, I've gone every year, but I mean, it's like every year you get good learnings, not just from people on stage, but I say even in the audience, we get a lot of good conversations on it. So, okay, so let's kind of get started. I always like coming out and have a conversation with everyone because we get to kind of talk about marketing, but I want to first start with just a question for you. There are over 230 million engagements happening online every minute. Not every day, but every minute there's those 230 million engagements. And you can see them all outlined here. This is every minute this is happening, right? So people know, obviously you think about Google, those are easy with searches, right? We know about that. We start looking at Amazon and how much money is being spent there every minute. We even look at as far as like Instacart, we think of Zoom, Teams, all these different things. And there are 230 million engagements happening every minute. And the question I have for you today is, how are you involved with? Right, that's what you have to start thinking about. When we start talking about kind of demand gen that we're going to be driving, we got to figure out how do we get more involved. And so today I'm super excited. We have kind of the all-star team here, just, you know, we got AP here, we got Rosie here, we got Alicia, we got Rachel and myself. So you're going to be able to get a lot of good information. But this is kind of the game plan we're going to go off today. First, we're going to talk about what are the trends out there from a buyer perspective. When we start looking at marketing and content marketing, and content marketing specifically, what are the big trends that people of all business sizes are actually leaning in on? And then what I really want to make sure is look at what are the three that you should really be taking time to consider. And some of them are going to be looks like they're off the wall, like, oh my gosh, we should be doing this. But these are ones I really think can make the biggest impact. And I've seen partners implement that have made the biggest impact for their revenue for 2022. And there's a lot of resources, lots of great resources. I know a lot of partners right now, you may be going through some growth and you're like, gosh, I need some people to help me. Obviously, Dell Technologies has got a lot, but our Dell Expert Network has got a lot of things for you to kind of consider overall. So sit back, there's gonna be a lot of things that we're gonna walk through and talk through today. Like I said, great team. Excited that AP and Rosa and Alicia are here because we're gonna have some good conversation also. Just quickly, Eric Townsend, I work at Intel, work a lot with Alicia and team at the Dell Expert Network because I believe it's one of the best things partner can use to really help scale their business. Work with lots of different partners in many places. Actually talked to 3 already today about what their demand gen plans are for next year. So, but feel free to connect on LinkedIn with me. But the reason why I bring this up, just more of, I work with partners that focus on the small, medium business space customer. So think of if you service customers, that's, you know, one person in a company up to about 100. That's that small space. I do a lot there. In fact, most of my partners I work with, that 20 to 40, you know, people in a company. Now we do work with mid-market, but that's where really, when we're talking marketing today and about what you can implement, this is going to be able to hit that kind of spot of that SMB space. Now, I did want to just give you a little perspective, and I know everyone here is coming in because, I mean, you get a lot of stuff in the toolkit. We talk about marketing, but I want to just take a step back, right? And I want to talk about what are the current business buyer trends out there. And when I say business buyer, I want to be clear that consumers and how they buy consumer items versus business is a little bit different. Now, as we think about it, there is technically a journey that your customer goes on, right? So we think about it, there's kind of 4 big stages, all types of marketing funnels out there, but the stage in a journey is you're trying to reach customers a certain way. You're trying to have them act on something. You're trying to convert them, right? So you do some type of content marketing, you get saying that they're going to act on it, you're going to convert them, and you're going to engage them. Now, in this, you can see all different types of things on there. There's paid media, that's stuff you actually spend money for. There's owned media that's your own, that you've built up kind of maybe some online properties that basically people come to. And also with the earned media, you may have some other pieces there where you've got people to sign up, and then you've got experiential. Whenever it's on marketing, everyone's market is different, your customers are different, even your verticals that you support are different. So I just want to start with saying there's many different ways that we can do marketing, and you can see all different ones, right? People do print, which is still pretty popular in that reach part, but you also get SEO, we've done a lot, right? So you have that part. When you start getting an act, you start looking at, is there things that we can do around remarketing, or is there marketing automation? Those are some stuff that you can do. And then you start seeing convert, even in the engaged side, that remarketing is something that comes up. Remarketing, you'll see, is something that literally, if someone is interested in something I have, how can I keep showing them more of what I have? Now, you're probably saying, okay, what are people interested in? This right here is the kind of 2022, right? What are people interested in what they're looking at? And this is in the SMB space. So think of like customers, like I said, 1 person in company up to about 500, it's that range. And it covers 4 areas. So first one, there's business issues. What are business issues they're actually dealing with today, right? So you can see attracting and retaining new and existing customers. Now you may go, that's a business issue I'm dealing with. I've got the same, I'm there. Here's the great thing. You may be a small business or medium business also. So your experience or what you're actually going through are great things to actually go and share. We start talking about content and what we're going to share. That's great things to put there. You can see, on the IT priority side, security, yep, everyone knows that, right? But security, cloud, collaboration. I always tell you to even look down the list, number 8, managed services. So in that conversation that you have, and we've been going through this whole series throughout the year about influencing, right? We've talked about, things with social media, about all different aspects, but in the IT priority space, this is where they're really trying to say, okay, this is what we need to go and implement. Now, our challenges, obviously, just migrating to modern IT. So that's the cloud piece, that's the endpoint security, all those aspects of it. And then application growth, you can see all the things that we've, I think, seen for a while. The as a service piece has been growing, edge computing has been growing. A lot of AI pieces are starting to come into play. So these are areas that I give you, like, if you're saying, what do I go talk about? How we do it, we'll talk about how here in a second, but these are great kind of what's to go in. And you've got 10 and 4 columns, you got 40 what's you can go talk about. And some of them you are very probably involved with. So like if you think of number 9 or IT challenges, finding qualified and trained people. That is you, right? You could be the success story for them and say, hey, by the way, let me tell you one of my other customers how we've actually helped them. But some of these things here are things you actually go through at your business, is great to share. So the marketplace, right? And where people are doing marketing, there's many different ways you can market through different parts of the stage. But today we're going to focus on content marketing. Content marketing has been the king of all marketing activities for a while. Probably the last decade has gained the most steam, just because it is something that really is impact the bottom line. And I want to make sure when we talk about content marketing, I want to baseline the definition, right? This is a pretty well-known one, but just so we're all on the same page. So think of like content marketing is a strategic marketing approach, right? So it's a way that you actually market. So it's not just like I'm gonna do it once or twice. It's an approach that you actually take on, and it's focused on creating and distributing. So it's not just distributing, but it's creating a valuable, relevant, and consistent. This is one thing I want to make sure that you hear: consistent content that can attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately drive profitable customer action. So in all those activities, you saw that journey, right? We want to have the customer take an action. And this is an example, pretty good one, of a content marketing funnel. This is one that when I'm with partners, I'm saying, okay, we start putting content together. We should figure out, okay, where are we actually trying to be? So you can see the attract, engage, convert, retain. That's usually the funnel you'll see a lot of content marketing. That's our goal. How do we attract the customers? How do we engage them? How do we convert them to being a paying customer? And how do we retain them so they don't go off to someone else? But let's be clear, what their goal is different than ours, right? So when we're trying to attract them, you can see on the right, they're trying to learn. Or when we're engaging them, and you can see the ways you can engage them, right? They're trying to evaluate. When we're trying to convert them, they're trying to decide, and setting or retaining, they're trying to say, how can I succeed at our business? And like I said before, you're probably looking at me and going, okay, we've done some of these, yep. Look back to that on the left there, right? Valuable and relevant. Even though it may be something that is easy for you to do, is it valuable and relevant for your customers? And are they hearing it consistently? And the consistency side, we'll talk about how often you can do it, right? That's kind of not part of the how, but at least this part you can start here is that when you look at that funnel, what you may be trying, your goal and your customer's goal is a little bit different. And we just have to keep that in mind because we may put something out there saying, okay, we're going to convert, but they have not been, there's maybe still at the evaluation stage and we're not moving them along. So part of this is mapping out, okay, where do we think our customers are at? And then what are the specific activities we can do? In fact, if you looked earlier, right, we had kind of a meetup that we did. We mentioned about account-based marketing. If you haven't seen it, go back and take a look at it. We said, what is the strategy on account-based marketing? How's it work? This is where you can actually identify account-based marketing. Where are customers at? Are they in the evaluation stage, the learn stage? And that's where you can actually put those targeted campaigns in place. Now, the benefits of content marketing, why people do it, there's different ways you can look at it. There's obviously the part around leads and conversion. I think that's where most people say I'm going to drive, but there is parts of it people say they do content marketing for brand. They're going to go through and they're going to really drive brand activity. There is a part around demand that comes on client engagement. There is also nowadays, I would tell you, a bigger focus on competitive advantage. How do we make sure that the competitors in my market, I can actually have a bigger kind of mind share with the customers out there about who I am and how I actually work. So we talk about kind of the why part of it. Now, the what, this is what I think tripped up people a little bit. When we think about content marketing, it's not just about the how of what content you have, right? The how but the ways that you can do it. So what are the different areas around content marketing? So when we think about it, content can come in many different forms. We'll talk about a best practice at the end, right? But we think about content, you can put it in a blog, right? You could put it in your PR activities. And so people don't know public relations, right? You may say, okay, we want to go in our local area. We want to do a specific activity with Chamber of Commerce, or maybe you focus in a certain vertical, like maybe you're in dentistry, or maybe you're in legal, getting in those PR places and airplanes that you can actually scale on. Social media, that's pretty self-explanatory where you can actually put information out on social media. Podcast content marketing, this has been, I would say, the rage in the last probably 2 to 3 years where people are having podcasts, but they're actually very targeted on what is the content they have in their podcasts. I'm probably going to break the matrix right now when I say this. If you go back and look at the podcasts you actually follow, there is a stream that they actually are putting out there of not only good information, good content, right, but then also what they're trying to drive you to do. Infographic content marketing is a really big one nowadays. Different ways you can do it, video content, and also paid ad content marketing. So I'm not making it complicated, just make sure for people out there to say, I've heard of content marketing, and I think it's just putting stuff out online on my website. It's a lot more of where you segment it and what you can actually go and do. Now, I love kind of talking about the how in some cases, because when we think about content marketing, once again, it's not just, okay, I'm going to build a Word document, just put it out there. There's kind of a cycle around it. And I really think when partners say, okay, well, I really don't know how I'm going to be able to get this many leads, or how I'm going to actually drive things. I'm really about them talking, saying, well, let's talk about who are your customers today? I talk about the why, the what, the how, but let's talk about who. Who are your customers today? And you see that research insight, and then we start saying, okay, well, based on those customers and how big that market is, right, of customers, what's our goals we actually want to have? And that could be, remember last time we talked about market qualified leads, sales qualified leads. What are those? What's that metrics we're going at? And then from there, once again, you saw the funnel, right? Are we doing awareness, right? Are we engaging? We start making a strategy. And then we say that strategy, here's the content we need to build. And that content creation, it can be, you literally just taking content of your own, or I think it's better strategy is to actually work through different vendors like Dell Expert Network, Intel. I have a lot of people out there that will actually has content for you, and you'll content create. Then you go to the distribution side, then you start measuring engagement, start to get them going. So there is these different aspects of how do you make sure you put things in place. This is a strategy for it. And when we do talk about the who, I always like talking about what's our target. And the one thing with content marketing, and this is, I'm giving you a little detailed think about here, is that you want to grow your trusted audiences. And those are the people that are really engaging you. So there's broadcast audiences, and for people this may be new, I'll just go do it quickly. So you're going to broadcast out, and not everyone's going to take your message. So you may say, hey, we're going to do something around security, cybersecurity, right? Some people may not hit them for whatever reason. From there, you're going to start figuring out, okay, in that area of that broadcast, there is a certain segment of the market that's addressable that really they want to actually hear that around cybersecurity. Then from there, that market, then you start getting in your target audience where maybe it's not just everyone about cybersecurity, but it's in healthcare specifically. That's when you get the target audience. And then from there, you start looking at those trusted audiences. Those are people that are going to act, that are going to engage. And I'm a really big fan of actually measuring things around this. So as you go through and do content marketing, as you start getting a better understanding about the people you're targeting, kind of the who, that's when you can start measuring who the trusted audiences are. And just as a side note, when we think about content marketing, we'll say, well, yeah, it seems like there's just all this effort. What's involved? This just gives you an idea of when we think about content marketing, and you can say specifically, you can see on the left there, the number of pieces of content. But I will tell you that from vendors, suppliers, all your people out there, and you probably experienced today, the content that a vendor gives you, right, and probably the one that's going to go with, that has a certain level of acumen that literally just, you're like, oh, that person seems like they know what they're talking about, right? And so this part of content is not just something that is one part. Remember earlier I mentioned about, hey, consistency is key. That's that part around, we got to make sure that the campaigns or emails or stuff that we're doing out there has the consistency of all the content we're building, right? So I was saying, so you think about, you have this email, or you've got SEO you do online, or you've got your web, or you've got blogs, podcasts. It's got to be the same. If I'm going across all of them, I want to see the same message. So if you're doing something big around cybersecurity, it's got to be through all of it, right? It's got to be the same. When you think about your services you have, the success stories used, all of it's got to actually be consistent. And you can see below, once again, just above marketing people, right? Just really, where does content really fit? You can see pretty high overall, not only from a content built, but then all the SEO side. So if you're doing search engine optimization, that's something that really drives a lot. So that's kind of the gist as far as on the different parts of content marketing. Let's talk about just kind of the goal of content marketing, right? So it's to scale your digital influence. And I want to talk about 3 kind of key trends related to content marketing. Ones I would tell you that you really need to kind of lean in on, and just, if you do these ones, I've seen partners literally grow their business double digits because they've sat in and said, okay, we're not just going to do not one toe in the water. We're going to actually really lean in and make sure this is just part of how we do marketing. Now, before we get to, I know some are going to ask, well, maybe you don't have a big marketing team. Maybe you have a part-time agency is helping you. These are ones, once again, that these are going to be the how, but I want to reiterate the fact that you have to be able to measure these things too. So whatever you look at today, and I recommend you only picking one of these, pick something that you're going to actually measure, right? That you can actually, okay, I did this, and remember, we don't do it for 1 month or 2 months. We do it for probably 6 months to really test, hey, does this work for my customers? If it is, great. If not, we go on to something else, but we got to give a little bit of time. But measure is kind of a key thing. So first one I'll tell you about is you need to drive that buying process with your customers around videos, right? And this may be a very simple one, and people are like, yep, totally got it. The first question I ask people is that when they say do videos, I'm like, tell me the link to your YouTube video page, right? Where's that at? And for partners, they're like, well, YouTube. And I told them, I said, back in 2018, YouTube passed Google as a search engine. So even though we saw the searches up front, Google, right? YouTube literally gets it where people are searching. I don't know if you do this consumer-wise, but business-wise, people are starting to use just to search and say, okay, what's actually out there? The more that you can actually enable video content, literally, you can see on the right there, the stats, 95% of people, they have a better understanding of their product or service. I was with a partner actually 2 days ago, we were talking about this, where we talk about device as service. And device as a service isn't the same for everyone. And they're trying to get like, how do we make it clear for our customer of what that means? We can make like a 2 or 3 page doc, and I'm like, well, the message could be buried in page 3 or 4, but a video actually explaining it, it really makes a bigger difference. And you can see 83% of people say video helps them generate leads. A lot of people out there today, if they're looking things on their phone, right? Video is the way they're going to get most engaged. Now, I will tell you, you can see the things on the right? These are the top from a business perspective. So not consumer, business, the top ones, right? So you see video, top there, white paper, so very big in our space as far as around technology. You can start seeing blog posts, and this is where way earlier we were talking about what different ways you can actually do content marketing. Content marketing can be done on a blog. It can be done very, very effectively. Webinars, case studies, research, and then ebooks. These are the top ones. I know right now you're saying, but Eric, I do emails. Yes, I'm not saying those. These are just the top ones as far as driving. If you think about what is going to get leads and get people in the door and having conversations, these are the big ones as of right now, right? So as of today, it has changed since the pandemic. We could have a long conversation on it, how it's changed. A lot more people are obviously in a different work environment. They're in different places. And so this is actually driving how people are consuming things. That's why video was big before, but it literally has gotten bigger. And if you're asking like, okay, what type of videos? If you go look back at our influencer meetup we did, I think about back in August, I give you a whole definition of what type of videos to do, size, things like that. So I didn't want to waste our time today, but if you go back and look at that one, you'll get lots of information on what type of videos, length, all that. So first thing, drive the buying process with video content. Don't drive it with the PDF. I would say, honestly, even people want to drive it with the website. And I'm like, well, that's still, you can't get as much information. It's kind of like pictures worth 1,000 words, videos worth 1,000,000 words. So be thinking about using that video in that purchasing area. The next one, this is going to get a little bit harder. This one, these are, when I've seen a return, I talked to one partner one day, and he's like, yeah, so let me bring our audience strategist in. And I was like, who? It's like our audience strategist. I'm like, you have an audience. Now, once again, this is where this is a smaller partner, and they had brought someone in, an outside person, and said, yeah, this person really understands our area. We do a lot of healthcare locally here. And I was like, okay. And basically, we sat and had this conversation. I said, okay, well, as an audience strategist, what do you do, right? And the guy's like, well, I just really, you can see on the bottom, a strategic approach, try to get quotes, a strategic approach to developing the audience as a business asset. And I was like, so your audience is a business asset? He's like, oh, yes, totally. They're the ones that help us grow our business. They're the ones that help grow, meaning not only from a revenue perspective, but they help us go wider and they help us go deeper. And they do that by looking at the audience. So as a strategist, what he's looking at is saying, okay, and you can have your marketing people, deem one of these people as your audience strategist, right? And have them think about how are we looking at our audience? So like, for example, it's in healthcare. Okay, there's different sub-segments in healthcare. Is there a certain one you want to focus on, right? What is the audience right now? How do they understand? How do you really understand your audience? How are you integrating with your audience right now and communicating? And then how are you measuring them? And I will tell you the reason why this audience strategy is so important, because audiences change over time. And why I say this is because not only just how they change, but also how they consume content, right? So why I say this is because you're going to see sometimes where you're going to put something out there. Maybe it's content you had from a year or two ago, and it's not going to land. It's going to be like, there's not as much engagement, because over time people change. Different people move organizations, right? If you're doing account-based marketing, right, and you're going really specific, that's going to be really clear of what's that organization trying to drive today. What initiative are they actually looking at? So I could say healthcare, but if it's like the electronic medical record, that's a whole other set of content we need to look at. So having that audience strategist to be able to sit back and say, okay, here's the audience we're targeting. Here's how they're segmented. Here's the needs they have. It makes a big deal. And you can see the stats on the right. It really makes it so that when you're putting content out, you're targeted, and I'd say that trusted audience is going to sit back saying, this is the partner to go with. They know us. They get as far as what's happening in our industry. I will mention too that I mentioned the word industry, that a lot of the content that you can develop, it doesn't have to be about your solution from an IT perspective. So it could be security, it could be manageability, it could be cloud. That's great. But they also, if you bring insights, one of my really good partners in California is a lot with dentists. He actually speaks at the National Dentistry Conference every year on whatever the latest IT topic they want. And And it's interesting because he's sought after because, I mean, he's a partner just like you. It's actually MSP, not really big, to be honest with you, but he just has this way of knowing the trends happening in the industry, and then how do we actually bring him here, because he knows he's segmented his audience really, really well. So just that audience strategist, the big one I'd have you think about putting in play. And then another thing I'd have you consider, this is probably the hardest one, and when I'm speaking to everyone here, right, on your kind of Robin's patch, you folks are pretty advanced, right? So I'm going to throw something out to you that I would normally not put any other, I couldn't talk about any place, right? And this is something I think that really, besides going through and looking at video, yep, okay, couldn't get that. Looking at audience strategy, that's 2 level. But the 3 level one is this is implementing a content marketing platform. Now, you're like, okay, man, we're going to put a platform in place. Now, you know, Robin's got some great tools putting in place already around CRM, right? You're seeing some of that. But if you think about where we've been and where we're going, so think of like in 2000 to 2005, Salesforce automation was really, really big. We know the big vendors, Salesforce, Oracle, Microsoft. And then it came apart of saying, okay, well, we got all this data around our customers now. How do we make sure we bring the marketing aspect in? So they would basically say, okay, I've got this customer, and we got to make sure we do this type of engagement with them. So that was kind of like the 2005. It really got more space, probably 2015, started ramping as we got to 2020. Now people are saying, okay, this next big opportunity we have out there is around content, and really, what is the right content we should have, and who should we be targeting, and how should it go out? And so there are multiple platforms that are out there. I'm not going to tell you one specific one, but I think to really, and once again, from a growth perspective and what industry you're in, it can be used for a new industry going into. So it's like, hey, we've got this industry going really well. We want to grow over here. You can start with the basic content marketing piece we talked about earlier, about what those different ones. But these type of platforms enable you to do podcast marketing, enable you to do PR content marketing, right? All these different areas you can go across and doing content marketing across all of those. And that it can actually bring in, not only your new customers, but I think people miss the point of, if you're thinking about growing the share of wallet with your existing customers, you have a lot of things that you can actually engage there with them, and content that can make them all of a sudden go, oh, hey, you know what? I know you guys did that. We've been with your customer here for about 5 or 10 years. Didn't realize you actually had these other services in place. So definitely when you think about these 3, like the video, that's something probably I'm thinking most people are doing here, but leading with that all in, like literally saying, look, we're going to take all of our other ones down, a smaller amount, maybe 10% of what we do, but leaning on video. When we think about that audience strategist, really putting a targeted role in place to really bring your audience along. And then this platform part, a little bit harder, don't get me wrong, but can provide a lot of scale. And like I said, many different tools out there for you to kind of think about. So that's what we got as far as for some of the content. I love actually being able to have, talk to a partner about kind of what they're going through. And we're lucky today. We've got kind of really, I call them innovative partner, to be honest with you. At Dell Expert, there's a lot of cool partners that are out there. But AP years, he's talked, actually, AP, I've heard your name in a couple of circles. So it's great to actually, sit and say, okay, what's actually happened in his badge today? So first, for people who don't know you, AP, talk about your company, what you guys do, things like that.
Well, we're based in South Florida. We're serving the Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami area. We have about 9 employees. The verticals we focus is nonprofit, finance industry. We are Dell Expert Network partner and an Intel Alliance partner as well. And so that's basically what we do in a nutshell here in South Florida.
And if you think of the last, let's say 2 years, if you right, when you think about what you've done marketing wise and that, just anything you did differently, and do differently now compared to what you did back in 2019 and before?
I think we've pushed more the online aspect. So we're doing offline coupled with the online aspect. And a lot of the most profitable clients we received has been because of that effort the past 2 years. And we're pushing a lot of, the multi channels of LinkedIn, wherever our clients are located, that's where we are. So we're targeting our clients, and we're being more specific about where they're at and where we need to be alongside with them, so they can, get that exposure.
Yeah, CAP, so all this stuff, right? People are talking about multi-channel, and we talked earlier this year. Maybe that's great as far as how you're actually bringing in. Now, let's talk about like what trends are you seeing in your market today? What are you seeing with as far as some of your customers?
Well, we're seeing that direct marketing is still really relevant. I mean, when people receive a mailer from us that TMT actually provides for us to use, Technology Marketing Toolkit, we use that, and we also come through the online as a backup. So basically retargeting online when we do an offline campaign. So we've seen that works. That's tangible. They can hold on to something in their office, and it keeps us on top of mind. Yeah.
And tell me, when you think about like, so you've got some of those direct mail, but when you like event wise, what's happening? What are you guys doing there right now?
We're doing a lot of events, chambers, speaking events, and so we're focused on a lot of that. South Florida got recently hit with a hurricane, so it's difficult to balance your personal intention with helping, but also in the middle of a hurricane, the first thing that comes to mind to many business owners is, how do we get our system back up and running? So when we're there helping and getting involved, I think that's another way to be out there and connecting with business owners in our field. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. You mentioned earlier about multi-channel, multi-touch. What give me a perspective of how you do multi-touch today, and then you mentioned something about phone calls. What's that about?
So when we do our targeting, we send out our campaigns, we do our line on targeting as well. We still follow them up with phone calls. So we have somebody at the office making calls, going down the list, and making sure that they're being touched also via the phone. Sometimes through the mail, through the internet, they're being bombarded. And when somebody comes in and gives them a call with a follow-up, it goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Because I like you said two things. Maybe everyone, hoping everyone hears right. He did some direct marketing to them, got some mailers to them, and a phone call. Some people say, "Oh, it's got to be all digital," and we can't do these two. Especially, I think over the last 2 years of people not having as much, touch with people and not as much community. Those two things can actually do a big part. And just a side note, maybe I know a lot of people, they talk about events. Is there any right now for you that, so if there's that chamber event, is it a chamber event? Is it a customer event? Is there a certain topic talked about? What events work best for you so far?
I mean, we're very diverse in the event. We go from chamber, from industry association, and even client events that may have, we had one client open up an art gallery, and they brought other business people into the art gallery. So we were participating in that as well. So, yeah.
And so obviously when you're doing these different things, there's different type of topics you can talk about with these. What topics right now are resonating with your certain customers?
In South Florida, really is disaster recovery, business continuity, security. Those are major topics that keep hitting the mark for us and our prospects.
Yeah. And AP, is there a way you message that? I just asked it because I mean, like, so if I live in Arizona, right? So Arizona people, we don't do the water too much, but like in your, how do you message it so that people, if it's a secret sauce, you don't have to mention it, but how do you message it so they understand, business disaster recovery or like those bigger terms?
So I'm a technical guy, so I have a hard time not being too technical and still getting the message across. Again, that's where, Technology Marketing Toolkit, TMT, and the different vendors associated with her, like Intel and like Dell. And I leverage the marketing content to push out the messaging. Because again, if you leave it up to me, I'm going to get extremely technical and I'm going to lose them on the first sentence. So that's our approach, and that's how we get the message across.
And I love that, right? So, I mean, I love it because I think a lot of times people are like, okay, I got to think this up myself. I'm like, no, dude, you got vendors that build stuff. And just as a side note, right? Think about Dell Network and Intel. We not only make the stuff for your sales team, right? But we also get the end customer. So most of the time there's both that's available out there. Now, tool-wise, if you walk me through, so we talked a little bit earlier about automation and what can be happening there. What do you use today around for automation to make this process a bit easier?
Oh, we use platforms called Buffer for scheduling out all the campaigns online, Canva. So there's MailChimp. I know there's also Constant Contact that some people use. We use MailChimp personally. So, and then the TMT team also has a great CRM that we're in the middle of looking into as well to help with that automation.
Cool. And then you said on the marketing, the technology toolkit, is there anything that's come out maybe like in the last year that really rung with you guys that basically, and I mean, that was effective, you put that out and that worked well?
As far as tools?
Yeah, tool for me. I know there's a lot in the toolkit itself. I was always asked, is there one thing that was worked, or two, whatever, that's worked?
There's one tool, I believe something Hopper, Prospect Hopper. There we go. So that tool we've been implementing and it's worked out great. We're getting a really good engagement with clients and prospects.
Cool. And then, so we've got kind of the technical tools, but obviously within Dell Expert Network, having that dedicated account manager, how has that helped you as far as in your business in the day-to-day?
Well, it's been great. And in the past, I've had certain situation where I need some clarity for a client, and I've been able to reach out to the Dell Expert Network. And actually, everybody who I connect with there, it's all hands on deck, and they quickly get my problems resolved. So I have zero complaints for Dell, which is why across the board all our clients are on Dell.
And you said strong partnerships lead to strong referrals. Tell me what that means.
Well, many times, connecting with our clients, partnering with vendors, right vendors, usually lead for a certain trust from our client, right? And that's what leads into referrals. We're bringing in the right partners like Dell and Intel into our clients, and we end up reaping the benefits of a good quality partner. In return, they provide leads and they provide referrals for us.
That's cool. Now, we've kind of been talking about different ways to actually, how you're actually being successful in your marketing, the tools you have. But as we kind of look into the latter part of 2022 and then look into 2023, what challenges are you looking at? What are you seeing locally in your area?
The current challenge that I have is sometimes not getting that content fast enough. And that's what we're looking at, more automation on the CRM side, something that can help us get that content out. Like I said, I was out in the middle of a hurricane where we were helping out with the recovery efforts, and I couldn't get certain information out there saying, hey, look, I'm here, I'm helping, I can do the same for your business, basically. So I guess getting that data out there quick when it happens, I think is what we want to focus on. Those are the only challenges we have right now. And I think automation with the right content automation platform, I think would be great.
Cool. So I'm going to go through a couple of resources. We're going to come back to you. And for everyone, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A. I do want to make sure we go through a couple of different resources. First, Intel Partner Alliance, we got some great content for you at our Partner Marketing Studio and many other places. In there around our kind of competencies that you can get around certifications for managed services and devices service. But I want to make sure we take a little bit of time because if you mentioned about kind of Dell Expert Network and what that brings, and we've got the rockstar Alicia on today. Alicia, why should people here be wanting to call Dell Expert Network and actually engage with your team?
Yeah, I think you guys kind of went through what AP was saying and what you guys were saying about content marketing. I mean, a main core part of my job is creating MSP specific resources so that you guys can go out and grow your business and kind of engage your customers and leave, Intel Partner Alliance and Dell Expert Network, leave that content generation and that heavier lifting to us. So then you can kind of pick and choose from, all of the content that we put out there, what's relevant for your audience, what you think is going to help grow your business kind of use. So just for everyone here, if you haven't been on our webinar series yet, my name is Alicia Bowling. I'm the Dell Expert Network Program Manager here in the US. I want to thank AP for being on. He's been a great Dell Expert Network member for several years. So I just wanted to kind of take everyone through very quickly our program and kind of how it can help you grow your MSP business with Dell, whether you have an existing relationship with Dell or if you're looking to grow that relationship, change it. I'm here to help. So just walking you through the program and what benefits we offer. So Eric, we can go to the next slide. Just very quickly wanted to flash this up here. Kind of once you join our program, these are the 5 core benefits that you get. Again, the program is completely free. There's no quarterly or yearly minimums that you need, that you need to hit to be a part of the program. So that's really great. Kind of use it and abuse it. I know that sales cycles are different for different MSPs in different industries. We're entering into end of year, getting in that nonprofit space, that medical space where people have end of year budgets that they're trying to spend. I get emails all the time like, hey, Alicia, what is shipping? What can I get? The stuff is going to ship before the end of the year so I can use that budget. So like what AP was saying, the most used benefit of our program are our dedicated account teams. And we really have a great group of sales reps that are based in either Nashville, Tennessee or Round Rock, Texas. That is that kind of dedicated point of contact for you and your customers to kind of work through any issues that come up. We also have a tool called Tech Direct, which is very, very popular. It allows you to bypass calling support actually, so you can log in and self-log your own support tickets. So if you have an end user, that's having a hardware issue, as long as that hardware is still under warranty, you can log into the Tech Direct portal, populate their service tag, and go ahead and self-log those support tickets, and actually also self-dispatch parts. So if you have a hard drive that's gone bad, or a motherboard, whatever it may be, you can log in, put the service tag in there, and just ship a new hard drive to that end user versus having to call the 1-800 number. Now, our pro support guys are great when you need them and they're there, but I know I'm with you. There's nothing more frustrating when you call a 1-800 number, and you're like, yes, I've turned it off and turned it back on again. Yes, I've already, had my tech diagnose what the issue is, and you just want to expedite, resolution. We also have our member portal. We're actually about to launch a new one in about 2 months. So that's under construction currently. And we're really excited because our content library is going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot bigger than our previous portal. So if you are a member or joining the program, stay tuned. We're looking to launch that near the end of January, which I'm really excited about, because that's going to be just another place that you can log in and get all of that content to use and abuse and kind of manipulate for your own end users to make sure that you're putting out relevant content for them. And then, of course, you get rewarded for recommending Dell to your end users. It's Dell saying thank you. Thank you for recommending Dell. We appreciate your partnership, and you can get up to $20,000 a year in rewards. And then our last benefit is with Dell Financial Services. So if you need payment options, especially now that we're into the year, some of those customers have excess budget at the end of the year. Some of those customers already spent all of that IT budget, and they're like, okay, we're hiring, we need to get new endpoints, we need to upgrade a server. How do we do that without totally crashing our budget? So Dell Financial Services is a great payment options. We have lease options. We have device as a service options. So again, once you're in the program, you'll just contact your direct account manager to kind of go through that. And then moving into the next slide, just kind of goes through, is your MSP a good fit for the program? And I always just flash this up really briefly because a lot of people have questions. Hey, Alicia, what's the difference in the Dell Expert Network program and our Dell Partner Channel? And the main difference is that the Dell Partner Channel is intended for people who are really focused on hardware resale margins. They want to take Dell product, mark it up, and resell it to their end users. And that is their main business model. In the Dell Expert Network, we're more focused on service-based MSPs who are recommending Dell hardware to their end users. And a lot of people tell me, hey, I fall in that yellow light. We're somewhere in the middle. So that's a great opportunity to reach out to me. My contact information, if you want to take us to the last slide, is right here, and we can kind of pause. Please email me. I can schedule a call with you. I can schedule a call with one of my sales reps to get you enrolled in the program. From your interest form and to getting you enrolled is typically less than 24 hours. I've only kind of hit the high points of the program today, but if you're interested in learning more, you can visit our Expert Network landing page. If any of your end users have any projects coming up, we are going into Black Friday, Cyber Week. We have some great promotions and sales that are happening right now. I know a lot of businesses, A lot of the sales are consumer focused, but here at Dell and for DEN members, we have a ton of really great Black Friday specials that are unique to the DEN program. So if you have any customers who are looking to get some purchases in by the end of the year, the next couple of weeks is probably going to be the best pricing that you're going to see. So yeah, if you're interested, please reach out to me in my contact information. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. And then I'll send it back to Eric. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat, because we're going to have some, after Eric closes this out, we're going to have a few minutes for Q&A. And I know that AP and Eric and Rachel are all here to help facilitate those. So thanks everyone for joining today.
Thanks, Ajay. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. And from a next step perspective, folks, right? Like I have you think about this of, you have learned a lot about different things here on content marketing, right? How can you actually go through, like I said, whether you're going to do more in video, whether that, that audience helper you're going to have, you've got the platform you can look at. I would just say, select one of those and really lean on it. That's going to, and I'd say when you select it, you probably already have some type of framework you do marketing, right? You may do one-offs here, you may this, put those different pieces together, then say, how do we layer that content piece on? Because that's going to actually help you scale when you're going into 2023. Lots of information on Dell Framework, link on there, also our partner alliance. And I mean, yeah, I'm excited to kind of get into our Q&A and what we've got there. And so, Rachel, I think you're going to help us kind of talk through what we got on some of the questions that come across.
Yep, that sounds good. Hi, friends. The first question, we don't have much time, I'm going to jump and go quick, is around videos. It says, I don't have access or budget for high-end videos. Is that lower level of production okay?
Heck yes. Heck yes. Yes, very good. And I mean, the one trick on YouTube you can do too, Rachel, is that so it means shot with your phone. But if you can, there's tools out there will do this for you. But you can actually, if you can put text in that video anyhow, because then I realize there's a large percent of people that actually watch movies or watch videos on mute. So if you take a video and have it text, YouTube and even Google will actually index not the video title, but also text in your video if it's on screen. So you don't need high-end video. Literally, I would almost go against that. I'd say the more authentic you can make it, where it's just a video shot on your phone, that helps a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. Great tips. Alicia, questions coming to you. Really high level, what would your customers say is the top benefit of your program? If you had to say one.
I would say definitely it's probably a tie between the dedicated account manager and rewards. Those are the two that are used and abused. It's really great, especially in an environment that we've been seeing the last 12 months when supply chain is so crazy. You're looking on the website and stock is changing constantly, and your customers need, something, that they can get in quick and is going to work. So those account managers can kind of help you navigate that supply chain landscape.
Awesome. Awesome. AP, I'm coming to you with this last one, and then we'll get into the prizes. Good question here about messaging within a community. And it says, knowing that listening is important, how upfront is your sales message versus your either helper or your value message? How do you balance that kind of messaging when you're in a community, when you don't want to lead with the sales message?
I mean, we just try to be as genuine as we are with the messaging, and our approach, on the back end is the same way. So, yeah, so that's exactly how we work.
Awesome, awesome. It looks like I'm going to slide one more in, Eric. So this question says, is it important to keep a consistent high-level message throughout your content marketing message? And I think you said yes, that is very important. So they say, any tips on creating this core messaging?
Oh yeah, totally. So I would say usually people get confused between like a mission statement and then as far as like what's the value statement or the value exchange statement. And I say your mission statement is what you keep for your company. The value exchange, that can change yearly or every 18 months. So what is that value you're actually leading in today? Meaning if your sales team, some salesperson was got in an elevator with someone, they had 30 seconds to talk, what would be that soundbite? Is it, hey, our company does this? What is that soundbite? That's the value exchange statement that you'll have. That can be used, Rachel, too, on branding across different things. It can also be like when you're ending a webinar or starting an event, you explain that over and over again. But it's a value exchange statement that we put in place.
Very helpful. Quick question, because we have time, Eric. Thoughts on video length?
Depending on that, I said, look back at that last influencer one we had. I don't like going over anything that's 3 minutes or more from a pure just talking head. I do like that less than 60 seconds. I think 30 seconds is a little harder. But 30, 60, 90 is where you can fall into really good. And then I tell people too, when they're doing videos, you don't have to just be you, right? I mean, think about it. We got AP here, we got Alicia, we got Rachel. See how much more engaging it is, more people? I would say more the better.
Cool, cool. I think that's about all we have for questions. Jeff, I'm going to pass it back over to you for prizes.
Yeah, and I'll even mention on that last question there too, is that remember on it is that sometimes it's not a matter of how long, it's how interesting. Because you could have a 10-minute, 15, 20, 30-minute, really, really interesting video that people will watch the whole thing. I think any of us can probably think back of YouTube videos that's been the case, and it's really interesting. There's also less than 1 minute that are boring, even less than a minute that you don't make it through a minute of it. So be thinking about like what would be interesting to your audience there. And sometimes interesting kind of ends up being of what the content is. Sometimes interesting is like the delivery of the content and how creative you are and how interesting of a group of people that you can pull in. And so there's just a lot of those things. The more creative sometimes that you can be is that you're going to get that people watching it and getting on there. So with that, I do have our winners here. So I've got 6 winners for our $500 Amex gift cards. We've been doing this all year with the Dell team. So Alicia and the Dell Expert Network team, I want to thank you for doing this all year long, just creating some fun. Speaking of being interesting, giving away $500 Amex gift cards can be interesting here. So I've got our 6 winners. I double checked right before I came back on here to make sure that they're still on. First one from Decatur, Alabama, Philip Templeton. Congratulations, Philip. Next, we've got from Lilburn, Georgia. Not everyone on here is from the South, but we've got Brian Kinsey. Brian's an MSP Launch Academy member as well. From the big city, Chicago, Illinois, we've got Michael Willett. From Malone, New York, an Accelerators Club member, Michelle Villarreal. From Portland, Oregon, another Accelerators Club member, TMT Accelerators Club member, Ron Rothstein. And then lastly, the last winner of the year from Bangor, Maine, James Corgan. So congratulations to all 6 of you. We'll be contacting you. Tracy from our team will be contacting you to be able to get those out to you in the mail of those Amex gift cards. So congratulations to everyone for that. I also wanted to, with Thanksgiving coming up here in the US, thank you to Eric, to Rachel, and everyone at the Intel team, but also Alicia and everyone there at the Dell team. You guys are great partners of ours. This has been a great series. I do want to remind for everyone here, if you registered for this webinar and you're seeing this, you did get access as part of that to all 4 parts to this series. So you've got 4 parts. If you really loved what Eric was talking about today, then you're going to love the 4-part series. So make sure that you go back on that. You should have gotten it by email and also on the success page there. So great job with all of that. Thank you to all of you here, and look forward to seeing many of you from the Dell and Intel teams in 2023. And many of you, we still have 2 MSP Success webinars coming up in December. So we've got 2 more here for the rest of the year. So be watching out for those emails. And with that, I think we'll wrap up the call for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, AP.